Hey, what's ready? Welcome back to News Toast. And again, you might be a bit surprised that I'm doing this during the weekend, but I think going forward, I might start doing these News Toast videos if there's enough to talk about during the weekend, rather than just waiting until Monday to get everything caught up. So, just a heads up with all of that. But yeah, Xbox may have just had a showcase, one that I actually gave a 10 out of 10 to. I believe it's the only showcase that I've ever given a 10 out of 10 on this channel. But the thing is that we're now hearing that Xbox might actually have more to show, and so much so that they're considering yet another showcase. So yeah, we're going to get into all of that, when it could potentially launch, and also what could possibly be there. Now, as usual, though, we do have a lot of other stuff to talk about, but first, I do want to thank my supporters on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. Thank you just so much for what you do, and you will receive this video through early access. Let's go get right into things, though, starting off with Ubisoft and a really strange rumor regarding the Rayman series. I mean, we've known for a while that Ubisoft is working on a new Rayman title, and possibly even two, with one of those being a remake. This has been talked about time and time again, but the big question that I think Rayman fans have on their minds is, which Rayman game are they going to remake? Now, for me, I've always assumed that it would either be Rayman 1 or Rayman 2. I mean, they could easily remake the first game with a similar vibe as Rayman Origins and Legends, and I think that would likely be the easiest and most obvious path for them to take. But at the same time, I would actually prefer them to remake Rayman 2 instead, just because it's been so long since we've gotten a new 3D Rayman title. So I feel like that would be the more exciting of the two. But either which way, I would be happy, and I would assume that most Rayman fans would be as well. However, we're now hearing from a respected Ubisoft insider by the name of Jonathan that it's actually neither of those games, but instead he claimed that the eventual Rayman announcement is going to disappoint fans. Yeah, that sounds a little ominous, but when he was asked about a potential Rayman Legends remake, he simply responded with the infamous eyeball emoji. So, yeah, if this is actually true, then that would definitely be disappointing, because it's really a game that does not need a remake. Rayman Legends still looks and runs beautiful to this day, and even more so is that he claimed that this remake would kind of determine whether a new Rayman game would get a green light for further development. And that's just so sad, because if it really is a Rayman Legends remake, I just don't foresee that selling all that well. I mean, when I first heard this rumor, it just kind of sounded unbelievable to me until I realized that we're talking about Ubisoft out of all companies, which is the same company that just canceled Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake, which was basically finished. So, I hate to say it, but I really wouldn't put it past them to remake a Rayman game that nobody is asking for. Really, it's just a terrible decision if it's Legends, but one that I could see Ubisoft doing. Oh, and No Rest for the Wicked is lighting up the charts on Steam right now with a new peak high of 53,000 players. I mean, that puts it within the top 30 most played recent games on Steam, which is highly impressive, not only for a game that's still in early access, but also for a game that's going on its second year now. So you might be wondering why the sudden surge of players, and that's because they just dropped its new co-op mode, which has been getting rave reviews online. Now, I talked about this game not all that long ago because its reviews have climbed all the way back up to an 86% approval rate, which is pretty incredible for a game that started out with mixed reviews. So clearly, Moon Studios is listening to their fans, and it seems like they're delivering on a lot of their promises. So, I mean, it seems like it's got a really bright future ahead of it. They are continuing to prove why the Ori franchise was so good. They really are a good studio, and I'm actually really excited for the full release of No Rest for the Wicked. But if you are interested, it's actually on sale right now for $24. Now, for you PlayStation fans out there, I also have some good news for you all, because New Super Lucky's Tale is heading over to the PlayStation 5. And this is a game that I played years ago. I mean, it's really the game that convinced me to subscribe to Game Pass, and I'm so glad that I did, because it's a great 3D platformer that takes me back to the days of the Nintendo 64 and GameCube eras. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to say that it belongs among the pantheon of greats, because it doesn't, but what I will say is that if you like 3D platformers, I do think that it's one of the better brand new IP within the last 10 years. It's just a solid experience with a lot of heart baked into it. And hey, the PlayStation 5 version will come included with some DualSense features, 4K resolution, and 120 frames per second. So if you're interested, the native PS5 version will be available on March 26. Alright, now let's go and get into the latest information on Xbox, because despite their 10 out of 10 showcase last week, well, apparently that's just them warming up for what's to come next. According to Jez Corden, during the Xbox 2 podcast, he mentioned that he had heard that they're considering a second Xbox Developer Direct in 2026. Now, from what he understands, this is not a partner showcase or even the Xbox Summer Showcase. He is specifically hearing about another Xbox Developer Direct. And quite frankly, I feel like if there's any year for them to double down on this style of showcase, it would be in 2026. Of course, it's the 25th anniversary for Xbox this year, and as I've repeatedly said on the channel, I think this is potentially their biggest year ever in terms of a software lineup, or at least on paper. I mean, we need to see the execution, but on paper, it looks honestly amazing. Now, with that said, they've already revealed some of their games, being Forza Horizon 6, Kiln, and Fable at the last Direct, all of which look absolutely excellent. But if you start to look into their roadmap this year, this really is just a drop in the ocean of what they have planned. I mean, of course, they have Halo Campaign Evolved, Gears of War E-Day, and Clockwork Revolution, and that's just from their Xbox-branded studios. We've also been hearing rumors about Spyro 4 from Activision and Fallout 3 Remake from Bethesda. Now, to be completely fair here, Xbox Developer Directs do tend to focus more on Xbox-branded studios, so I'm not exactly sure if either one of those games would appear at an Xbox Direct, but it is certainly possible that one of those two could fill in that fourth secret spot that they typically have for a surprise reveal. All in all, though, I think from a content perspective, another Xbox Developer Direct does make a lot of sense. Halo, Gears, and Clockwork Revolution would easily fit for that style of showcase, and quite frankly, I think it's kind of needed. I mean, they gave Playground and Double Fine the privilege to show off their games and to talk about them, so why not do that with their other Xbox studios as well? This Xbox Developer Direct was only half of the Xbox branded games that they have for this year. So I'm sure their other developers would love to sit down and do something like that, and so too would their fans like to hear about them. The only problem that I could foresee, though, is timing. I mean, I feel like it would have to happen in either March, April, or September, because Xbox already has their Xbox Summer Showcase in June, and then they have Gamescom for August. So, I mean, if they want to do something before the Summer Showcase, then either March or April would make sense. And if they want to do something after that, then maybe September for one last push into the holiday period. Again, though, I like the idea of one more of these showcases because they have the games to do it this year, and with the addition of Bethesda and Activision, they could easily include a big-time surprise if they wanted to as a bonus. Let me know what you all think about this, though. Do you like the idea of another Xbox Direct in 2026, or do you think their Summer Showcase will be enough? I mean, for me, the Summer Showcase is more so about streamlined trailers, so it doesn't really give you the same in-depth experience, that deep dive that the Xbox Developer Directs give fans, because they also have their developers explain what is actually in the game. So I would like both personally. Maybe I'm getting a little bit greedy here, but let me know what you all think about this in the comments below. Now, one more thing before we go, though, and I'm going to make this one real quick, but last week we talked about the idea that Resident Evil Code Veronica will be the next Resident Evil remake and that it will be announced later in the year. Dusk Golem leaked that information last week, and he really has become one of the best leakers within the industry, so I think there is a reason to believe this specific rumor. However, if you want more evidence that it could potentially be real, well, Nate the Hate also claimed that a Resident Evil Code Veronica remake is quote-unquote in deep development. Even more so is that he claimed that its release is planned for the first half of 2027. So, there you go. I actually really do like the idea of this remake because, frankly, a lot of people haven't played the original because it wasn't a numbered title. But it's always been highly praised among fans, and now more people with this remake will get the chance to experience why it's always been so highly praised. So, if anything else, color me intrigued. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode, but until next time, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and peace out.